Do I have to introduce my own review?
Absolutely not.
I didn't think you liked doing intros.
Well, you've done it now, so we're in Steve's review 2024.
Let's get deep.
Right, should we put a time limit on it?
Yeah, I could chat shit all day about myself.
Right, time in 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay.
Okay, we're going to start with one word to describe your 2024.
See, we did yawn, didn't we? And I've had all this time to think, and I struggle with one word.
You love words, just try. It's 20 minutes up, great.
It's hard, this one. I've been thinking about it. I would say different.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I agree. Been on this planet a while.
I have.
It's been the most different year I've seen so far.
Yeah, well, you've only seen 6 of them.
I have.
Imagine what it's like where I'm looking from.
I don't dare.
But yeah, I'd say different is the word, and the reason is like I've literally doubled down and done nothing but work really this year, like by design, and I wouldn't change it for anything. Yeah, so different is definitely the word.
Well, we're going to delve into it. So the best bit then.
The best bit
of your different year.
I'm twofold on that. I like. Like the only thing I did this year really other than work was go to watch that Bryan in America in his hometown, one of my best mates. That was just incredible. Like I love his music. I discovered him as I come out of hospital last year and I've just fallen in love with his music. So to go and see him was just in his own hometown was just incredible. But from a business point of view, I know you said like buying into the Defiant Co was yours, but actually for me that was probably the best bit of my year as well. And what I mean for that as well is like, one, it was great for my dad because he was ready to retire. So he got what he deserved out of the work he'd done. I'd been working with you already and you've been helping us go from strength to strength from a marketing point of view. So to have you doing that firsthand, not that you weren't invested before, but in a way where you're ultimately invested was amazing. But then to make me like look inwards at myself and like you invested in the Defiant Co, but that was an investment in me. So someone that I respect and I think's brilliant at what they do, wanting to invest in me was it just made me feel like good about where we were going, what we've been doing. So yeah, so it's threefold that for me, the best bit.
Like that. Well, then the worst bit then.
The worst bit is you investing in the Defiant Co and having to fucking work with you every fucking day. Yeah, the worst bit, you could say that because since that day, I don't think I've been right.
That's annoying.
Yeah. But no, the worst bit...
You're right a lot.
I am. I'll just let you think you're right because it's easier. But the worst bit for me was quite interesting actually because it was around the time I went to watch that Bryan. Like my grandma passed and she was literally my favourite person in the world. Like everyone has those relationships, but like she was like, yeah, the best. And it was the first time, like I've lost people before, but not that I've been that close to. And I think when I was a kid, I seemed to, when I first sort of experienced like death and loss, it made me a bit wappy as a kid. Not that you know, because I'm so sensible and so chill. But now, like, I feel like that was the first time I'd experienced true grief in an adult form in a way that I could sort of comprehend it, and it impacted me like significantly. Like I always think that I've said it to you before, like, and I've said it to like my mates and stuff when I've spoke about it. Like when stuff happens to me, I double down on all the stuff I can control. So I don't let stuff go to shit. So then on the face of it, even convinces myself that I'm doing really well with it. So I'm like, well, I'm still going to the gym, still eating good, still working my bollocks off. So you're like, oh, I must be all right. And I just probably wasn't as all right as I thought I will. I wasn't like, seeking mental health advice and all that nonsense. But I was like, I wasn't as me as I could have been. But that, I think my philosophy, and I said mental health nonsense, I don't mean that in a derogatory way, but what I mean is that I'm able to separate out those experiences. Like I experienced true grief, but my way of coping with that was to understand that that was okay and that was good because I've just lost someone that I loved. So therefore I should be sad about that.
Yeah.
And not letting that sad become my, my life. Like, and that's what I've been like, so that's how I've reflected on that as a whole, because I think like there's a lot of, like people will misinterpret sadness as a mental health problem, and I just don't. And I think like if you can control what you can and sort of allow yourself to be upset when you should be upset or be sad when you should be sad, then that's a much better place to be. And like now, as it's coming to Christmas, I've been thinking about it a little bit more because we always have family Christmases and such like. And it is like, it's going to be sad, but again, I'm okay with it being sad because I feel like it should be. So yeah, that was the worst part of the year, but also like another, thing around the time though, what was really comforting was like, like when someone passes, one of the feelings that people generally tend to have is regret. And I didn't have any of that, and I liked that because I'd always had the best relationship, saw them out as much as I could, so there was nothing. They were always buzzing to see me, and so there was none of that regret. And I think, you hear a lot of people when they lose someone, they're saying, "Oh, I should have done more, I should have done this," and I didn't feel like that. And I know my grandma didn't want me to do any more. I feel like I could have done any more, and I think that's true of my mum, my dad, my sister. We all went through that, and I'm assuming, I can't speak on their behalf, but they wouldn't have felt that feeling either because she was just great to be around. So we were around her a lot. So
love that.
Yeah,
love that. Okay, so what are you most proud of this year?
Proud of? I struggle with this. I've said to you before, like when I look at the year and what we've done, it's like incredible. But I was like, I haven't done enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So. And I don't mean that negatively. Like yesterday, I don't know when this will go out. I got the local entrepreneur of the year from the EC that we've spoken about the EC, how much it means. So that's a great achievement. There's some brilliant people that are in our region, and to get that was just amazing. So that is a massive achievement. But I'm always like, well, it wasn't just me. You know what I mean? It's like it's weird.
Yeah, but it's a milestone, isn't it? Like I was saying to you before, you've got a good support network around you now. Like you've joined things or you're going to things that expand you as a person. So you're not going to feel like it's just you, but that's not a good thing. But none of that can happen without you. So you've driven it, but you've just changed things slightly and it's supported you to make you better. So I wouldn't say it was like a resounding success, but it's definitely a milestone on whatever journey it is you're on to it. So
yeah, I guess that then as well, like my outlook is totally different now to how I approach many situations, and I think that's fair. Yeah.
So that was your proudest moment, winning that?
Yeah, I think so. Like everything that's happened. Like the Defiant Games went so well again. Like we've absolutely smashed last year's figures on the Defiant Co. So there's many things I'm proud of along the way, and I love what we've done, but I just want more. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna use that as fuel as opposed to sit here and pat myself on the back, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I like that. Okay, so the biggest learn of the year then?
Biggest learn of the year for me, which is really interesting, is how, and I've only really, really fully discovered this in the last probably week or so, because I've been reading. I read loads. I love reading. It's my morning routine. I get my coffee, which maybe that, yeah.
Proudest moment.
I drank my first coffee this year.
You did.
So yeah, maybe that. But anyway. So what I've discovered this year is I've always, throughout my life, been very, prick really. I've always been right, and now.
Well, you should admit it.
But I always had that mentality. I didn't want to dispute. I didn't want to argue. Nope, I'm right.
Yep.
And that could span any subject really. And I was never a massive dick with it. I was just a bit of a dick with it, and I just stopped talking to people. And what I've realised recently, I've been. Everything I read is, I think I talked about it on the last podcast, is about teaching me how to think and how to think better. And what I've found is the more knowledgeable I've become, the more open I am to being wrong. And that is my biggest learning is that the more you know, the less you know. And it's it's so freeing to want to talk about these things with people, whatever it is. I want to talk, I want to hear the point of view, I want to learn. Am I wrong? Am I right? Whatever. And people don't really have that at the moment. It's you have to be this or that. And I love that how I've learned to think over the last, especially 6 months, has enabled me to be much more open. So now I see many more opportunities because nothing's black and white as much as it was. Don't get me wrong, I still love that structure and I still think there are parameters in which black and white works. But from a knowledge point of view, nobody can ever know everything. So what are you doing to build your knowledge rather than think that you've got it all? And from a business point of view especially, I've been learned so much from you. And if you'd have said 18 months ago when we first started working together, you from the offset, to be fair, I was open.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have been paying you to do the marketing. But I think I was much more open than you thought. But then I've become more open with everyone else. Other people have said to me along the way that I've become much more approachable.
Yeah.
And I've learned, and I've just, my next door neighbour, my mum and dad's next door neighbour, long-standing family friends, watched some of the football with them in the Euros with England. And she couldn't believe the difference in me. Just sat watching England. Like I used to be like swearing, shouting, whether I was drunk or not. I'd be like, "What?" You know what I mean? And I was just watching it, and like I don't know if any of my mates are watching this, they'll probably disown me now. But there were part of me that were like, "It's just a game." And I've never said that because I just feel like there's so many things that are more important to me now than. Don't get me wrong, I want England to win. I want them to do well, and I will watch all the games. But like when they lost in the final of the Euros, normally that would have been a weaker morning for me. I was like, I can't get to work tomorrow morning. Didn't even think about it. And it just shows that when you channel yourself, and I'm not saying people should or shouldn't care more than me about football or this or that, but when you're singularly focused into what you want to do and what you want to achieve, everything else, to me, has become a little less important. And I don't mean that from a personal relationships point of view, but I mean stuff like that. That is just a game that I can't influence. It's nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
That should not impact my working week. And if it does, like you're probably in the wrong job because you've got no fulfillment. Whereas I couldn't, it would have at one point. I'd have been on a bender for a week to get over it. Like, and it's just that kind of thing for me. It's like that again just plays into the one word different.
Yeah.
Like my outlook has changed on so much, and I just like I don't know. I like who I am a lot more than I did. But at the time, I loved who I was. You know what I mean? I didn't see. Whereas now, when I look back at who I was then, I'm not proud of it. But I still had lots of friends. I still had great work ethic. Still had a good job. Still had this. But I've just grown so much more because I want to. I don't have a family, and I don't have a family, but not like dependents and things like that. So I'm mostly doing what I'm doing for me.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know.
That's why you feel like you're only just scratching the surface. Because you just started with that mindset.
I want so much more. And, I made a change. I can remember the date, 12th of October last year, where I was like, right, I feel like I've got so much in me and so much potential. And I've pissed off it up the wall. And now I'm going to live my life backwards. It's like, when I should have been knuckling down and really getting stuck into it, I wasn't. I was doing the opposite. So now I'm like, right, people might want to say, oh, it's boring now. Show me something I didn't do in them 20 years because you know what I mean? I've done everything. I've sown all my wild oats. I've done, probably so many things that I shouldn't have. And so I'm not missing out on nothing now. Now it's about, right, what can you actually achieve? Get your fucking head in gear and go.
So then what's your biggest objective for 2025 based on that?
2025, I don't know. What I need to do, I think I need to, one, learn how to be satisfied with a success, but not so much so that it stops me from... But I think what I need to do is to plan my time a little better. So for very different reasons to you. So you're chaotic and you have loads of spinning plates. So therefore, if you don't plan your time accordingly, shit gets missed.
Yeah.
Whereas me, because I have almost infinite time, so I have my day job, as soon as that finishes, if I want to work on Defiant like 5 o'clock until 9, 10 o'clock at night, I can. But then sometimes that isn't the best way of utilising my time. So how can I structure my time better and stop acting like my time's infinite and then get more out of what I do? So, like have blocks of, right, I'm going to achieve this in this period, do my 90 minutes and all that stuff.
Do you want to use my coloured pen?
No, your multicoloured technical Dreamcoat pen. So like maybe look at that. But I wouldn't say that's an objective because that's just something that if it works for me, it works. But if it doesn't, I'll find another way. But my objective is to just double down, like do more with this, do more with the print services. We're looking at ways we can expand that business, whether it's through acquisition or, investment, and because we've got an incredible customer base there. So my sort of objective for 2025 is to make the businesses more profitable through just effective means, like whether that, like I say, is acquisition or investment.
It's exciting next year. Really exciting.
So I just want a massive 2025 because I feel like this has been a different year for me, and I feel like I've laid some really good foundations. Now it's like, now what can you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You've got this springboard. How far can you jump? You know what I mean? That. And I think that's what 2025 is about.
Nice. So if you had to do anything differently for 2024, what would you have done?
I'd have probably tried to come to the mindset I'm closing the year out at the beginning, because even though the work ethic immediately was there from October last year, like I said, I feel like what I know now would have made the year much. But then again, that's all just a year of growth, and maybe I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for the fact I'd done those things along the way. So what would I do differently? Probably, it sounds ridiculous and like really arrogant, but I would say not much, because I did do, there were only one thing I wanted to do from a personal experience last year, which was this year was go and watch that. So I did that. There was nothing else I wanted to do, really. I have the freedom to do it, so I don't. So differently, I guess, again, it's more like be more strategic, maybe. But again, I've come to that now because of everything that happened. So it's easy to say that now. But yeah, I have the time to do what I want. And if what I want to do is work, rather than invest that time elsewhere, then I'll tell you what I would have done differently. I'd have got on 1 minute earlier and got them Puma runners from Represent.
I'm really upset about that.
I can't believe it. Platinum member of Represent, I am. 4 minutes past 12.
I'm surprised you even left it 4 minutes.
Yeah, I know. I were
it's very unlike you.
So yeah, so I want.
You like an alarm, like I do.
Yeah, I'm ready for some new runners, and Represent release their runners with Puma, and they were longer. But that's what they're doing is amazing, and that's an inspiration to me. Yeah. So even though I was fuming that I missed out, like, imagine that.
So
you put something on sale and it's gone in 4 minutes. Fucking hell, them boys are.
So it's what, size 6 was it? I could have got a pair.
I'm like, I'm like 12, my feet.
No, you said there was only size 6 left.
I'm joking. Yeah, there were.
Are you? I didn't know.
10.
Well, yeah, there's popular size. Gone. Right, two other questions before we do a taste test that you've promised everyone.
Digestive.
Your biggest personal achievement of the year?
Personal achievement is that mindset of knowing I know nothing.
Yeah.
I've gone through my entire life thinking I know everything, and this year it dawned on me that I know fuck all, and the less I know, the better I get.
I like that one. Okay, your biggest
professional, with the exception of you, which we talked about, because that is just incredible. But like that feeling on Black Friday, when we released our Black Friday deals just to our database on that Wednesday, it was Wednesday, wasn't it? And then we let them go on the Thursday. The sales that rolled in there, and it wasn't about the money, it wasn't about that, it was just the fact that we had worked so hard to nurture that database and to get them to believe in what we were doing, that for it to go like that, that was just the best feeling. And that was like, similar to what I've just said about Represent, in 4 minutes it's sold out. Like, that was just like a really crowning moment for me, because I was like, yeah, all that stuff that we've been doing and working on, that most of it which you'd recommended, it worked. And it was like, it wasn't about the money, like I say, it wasn't about the sales as such, it was just about that validation of we are doing the right thing.
The long game that was being played.
Yeah, and it's just that were brilliant. That.
Good. No, I like that one. That was my favourite. Okay, are you ready?
Right.
So
just for context.
Yeah, I was going to say we need to
re-explain. On one of the last shows, we talked about subpar digestives, and how I would always know what a real McVitie's tasted like. So I've gone to Morrison's, and what I've done. What do I look like? All right.
Yeah, fine.
And I got, what did I get? I got some proper digestives.
You can see underneath.
I can't see.
Oh yeah, okay.
I got some proper digestives. I got some gluten-free.
Yeah.
Imagine teaching you to be gluten-free. But anyway, what else? Some Morrison's digestives and some Digestive Light. So, are you going to put them in my mouth? Because
no,
I feel like,
absolutely not.
I reckon I could detect it just by its texture alone.
No, I'm not going to feed you. That's weird. So, what?
It's not like you're spooning me a bit of cream or something like that.
Hand out, then.
Oh God, what about this though? Because I don't want to be chewing into a mic. It's the most.
Take it off then.
People. If I'm ever on a call with someone and start eating, I just hang up. No words.
Take it off then, because you'll hear it on mine.
Can I just turn it off? It might come back on.
Don't do that.
I'll just leave it there. I'll do that, shall I?
No.
It's rating Apple, isn't it?
This is where it's bit. Take it off.
It's rating my Stevie's on. Shit. See? Can you see? Can you fuck? Right. You know which one reeling is, don't you?
Yeah.
What's that? Is that a whole biscuit?
Do you want me to just chunk it off? I'm sorry. There we go.
You've got to make it into bite-sized pieces.
Fine. We should have talked about this before.
Right.
Which one's that one?
That's not pleasant.
That's the one I had at the beginning.
Yeah, whatever that is.
I thought you had to guess.
I thought I was picking out the
real one.
Well,
okay.
That's definitely gluten-free.
Okay, well, you got that one right. You're snipping him.
Yeah, because I feel like I could. I feel like that's a real one. That's a real one.
Yeah? Tell me after that one.
Oh, that could be it.
You are allowed to. I'm really glad you're taking your microphone off. Oh,
I feel like that was Morrison's one.
I need to double check that.
That one's definitely light. Yeah, I'm going to stick with my original.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so which one was it? So you think number 2 was the real one?
Yeah.
Number 3 was the Morrison's?
Yeah.
And 4 was the light? Yeah, you got them all right.
There you go.
Weirdo.
I told you, I smelt it and I said this is the one.
Yeah, you did.
Well, it's easy, innit, I guess, because it looks good that I've picked 4 out. But the gluten-free one are obviously going to taste like a foot. And the light one we're obviously going to taste like shit, weren't it? So as long as I got between the two others,
yeah.
all right.
So. But was it really obvious?
Have a crack. You've tried the gluten one.
Yeah, the gluten one.
Which one's the?
So that one is the Morrison's one.
So it's not bad. I feel like to the layman, they might not be able to distinguish between a Morrison's and an actual.
I'm surprised you're that fussy for a plain tasting biscuit. It's plain. I think I prefer the Morrison's.
Well, you can take them because I don't want them. Take them all. Take big ones and over because they'll be gone by tonight.
Oh, there is a slight difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just something. It's like, I suppose it's like.
I'll try the light one.
I bet it's like, if you like your clothes and your fashion, you could have the exact same top from ASOS or from Chanel, and the Chanel one would just feel just a little bit different, wouldn't it?
But is that brand marketing power or?
Well, I don't know because I couldn't see. That's the point. Come out in a rash when you wear ASOS. You don't when you wear Chanel. So yeah, taste test complete. Are we done?
Yeah, smashed it.